Trying to change the other person so that you'll feel better doesn't work. You have evidence of that. In fact, trying to change the other person makes a bad problem worse, because when they don't change, you assume that they don't want you to feel better. So you've heard the term never give up. Well, if what you've been doing isn't working, I would say give it up. And you've heard the term try again. Yeah, well, if what you're doing isn't working, I would say stop trying that. And you've heard the phrase just try harder. Well, if what you're doing isn't working and you're trying harder at what's not working, then that means you're going to make the bad problem worse. To the NT wives out there, if you've tried to get through to your husband by appealing to his emotions and his empathy and talking about your feelings, as you have found out, you don't get anywhere because he doesn't speak emotionese. If you want to get through to him, you're going to have to think like he thinks rather than insisting that he feels like you feel. And how you're going to get through to him is appeal to his logic. So stop with the speaking emotionese, just making that term up. It doesn't exist. Instead, start speaking logicies. Hey guys, this is Mark, and a quick message to the NT spouses out there. If you were outside and you got rained on, you wouldn't look up at the cloud and go, I can't believe that damn cloud just rained on me. You know, taking it personally as if that cloud was targeting you specifically. So the same thing applies with autism. If your spouse has autism, he's going to be exhibiting those traits whether you're in the picture or not. The same stuff that you're witnessing, he would be doing that if you'd never met him. So why would you want to take it personally? I'm not saying just get over it. I'm not saying some of these traits aren't hard to witness and experience, but there's no need to take it personally. It's got nothing to do with you. Any more than that cloud that rained was targeting you. Oh, there's that lady down there in a nice pink dress. Let me just dump all over her. Quick message to the NT wives out there. You're very intuitive. You can almost figure out what somebody's thinking just by virtue of their facial expression. And if you, for example, have a child and your child needs something, you can fill in the missing information and know exactly what that child needs. They don't even necessarily have to tell you verbatim what they need. You can figure it out at an unconscious level just like that. Your husband doesn't have these intuitive skills, and you have assumed that he was just as intuitive as you. And that assumption has caused you more grief than anything else. You're assuming that your autistic husband is as intuitive as you and can figure things out as quickly and organically and almost at an unconscious level as well as you do. That has been your number one source of grief. So, message is this. He doesn't have the intuition that you do. And do yourself a big favor and just stop assuming that he's going to someday get it. So with ASD, you have a lot of mind blindness, emotions blindness, executive function deficits, anxiety, sensory sensitivities, weak central coherence, problems with prediction, just to name a few. And so all that results in a lot of unpredictability in your life. And so what are you going to do if you have a lot of unpredictability? You're going to try to create as much predictability as possible. And one of the best ways to create predictability, if you live in a world of unpredictability, you're going to gravitate to your special interests, and you're going to want to hyper-focus on that special interest for extended periods of time. Why? Because his special interest provides a lot of predictability. Unpredictability creates a ton of anxiety. In fact, it's one of the main reasons he's chronically anxious. And so his special interest is one thing that he can count on, one thing that never changes, one thing that is predictable, one thing that doesn't raise his anxiety. So it's not that he is purposely trying to avoid you, is that he's purposely trying to avoid unpredictability, and unfortunately you just happen to be one of those things that are highly unpredictable. You're going to have to let go of some of this. But I also know that that's asking you to bend over backwards. And a lot of ladies want to say, well, I can't bend over backwards. But you need to practice. You may not be able to bend over backwards today, but if you practice, you'll be able to bend a little bit backwards. But you're not bending backwards for him. You're taking a very paradoxical, almost reverse psychology approach to dealing with this whole mess. And that is, less is better.
Less work on him, more work on me. You can't fix autistic traits. You can't change autistic traits. You haven't been able to change him. You will never be able to change him. You've never heard me one time say, well, here's how you could change him. That's like me giving you advice on how you can change the weather. You're going to have to wake up and realize you cannot change him. And you're going to drive yourself, I'm going to drop an F-bomb, so cover up your ears. You're going to drive yourself fucking crazy if you keep living like that. Some of you are halfway there now.
That was Quinn. You've heard of the law of attraction, right? That works in relationships too. And so the more you observe what's going wrong, the more you think about what's going wrong, the more you talk about what's going wrong, the more you try to fix what's going wrong, the more you grow and attract what's going wrong. So we could say that if you believe in the law of attraction, which I do, and it works whether you believe it or not, and you're affected by it whether you believe it or not, then we could say that that's why you're having the level of difficulty that you're having, because it's become the number one focus. It's been a priority. What can we do instead? Flip it on its head. And that would be, I'm going to start observing the one or two things that are going right instead of the 99 things that are going wrong. I'm going to observe the things that are going right. I'm going to focus on those. I'm going to think about those. I'm going to talk about those. I'm going to mention those things when they occur and try to grow that. Try to attract that. Try to let that be the new focus. You are a creator. Whether you believe it or not, doesn't matter to me. You're creating anyway. Are you creating drama and chaos? Or are you creating harmony? You pick. Message to the NT wives out there. Your well-oiled, finely tuned, exceedingly intelligent emotional brain is your emotional guidance system. It is your guidance system. It helps you to understand how to process things. It helps you to understand what to say and do in certain situations. It helps you with your decision-making processes, just to name a few. Can you imagine not having that guidance system? I said, can you imagine not having that guidance system? The answer is no, you cannot. So, if you could, you would know what your autistic husband is going through. You're operating on all 8 cylinders with your emotional guidance system. He doesn't have 8 cylinders. The more you talk about the past, the more you preserve the past. The more you bring up the past, the more you relive the past. The more you think about, focus on, and feel the emotional pain of the past, the more you bring the past into the present moment. It's a very destructive cycle. Okay, a quick message to spouses on the autism spectrum. I want you to stop what you're doing and send a quick message to your NT wife that says, in spite of the fact that we have difficult times, I still love you. Here it is again. In spite of the fact that we have difficult times, I still love you. Stop what you're doing right now. Either email her, text her, call her, or if both of you are home, stop what you're doing and go into the room that she's in and say it. Do it now, right now. In a sense, there's really 2 types of neurotypical wives. On the one hand, you have the wife who expects some end result, some completed task from her autistic husband before she's going to offer him any kind of words of appreciation or acknowledgement that he's doing something right. In other words, he has to follow through, and there needs to be some completion of some type of a social skill or some kind of a emotional reciprocity before she offers any words of encouragement to him, if she offers any words at all. And then on the other hand, you have the NT wife that rewards effort. In other words, she sees that he's at least trying. and maybe he hasn't quite accomplished the thing that she wants him to complete, but at least he's trying, and she appreciates that, and she says, hey, I notice that you're putting forth some effort, and I appreciate that. And she rewards him with a little bit of acknowledgement and a word of appreciation, which, guess what, is very positively reinforcing for him. And he feels, I'm actually doing something right. And then he wants to continue to work at it. And now he's more motivated to actually hit the finish line. So of those two NTYs, guess which one gets more cooperation from her husband? I already know you know the answer. Quick message to the NT spouses out there. Why would you shame your autistic husband and guilt trip your autistic husband and then expect him not to explode in some version of a meltdown? That's like saying, I want to play with dynamite, but I don't want it to explode. No, if you're going to shame, throw, and guilt trip, you're going to be on the receiving end of some kind of meltdown or shutdown or an adult temper tantrum, and that's just going to come with the territory. And by the way, your shaming and guilting is not going to change behavior. It's going to increase that behavior. You got to find another method.
Always throwing the past in my face. There's two past things. Stuff that you can't change at this point, and past stuff that presently you could do something about. So if she's going to throw the past in your face and there's no way to go back and rectify anything on that particular topic, you're just going to have to be okay with her being pissed off. You can't climb in your time tunnel and go back and fix it. Now, if it's a past incident that you can currently do something about, then you use the line that we just said. Okay, well, I can't go back and erase that, but is there anything I can do about that today? With the first one, where you can't go back and fix it, let her be the one stuck in the past. You're just going to have to be okay with her being stuck back there. The past issue that you can do something about, just ask. Okay, well, I can't go back and erase that from our history, but is there something that I can do now, today? If the answer is yes, then now you have the choice to do something about it or not.
Quick message to the NT spouses out there. You can't demand that your autistic husband understand your feelings, because that demanding doesn't help him establish understanding. It doesn't fix the problem. It just puts more pressure on him, which will muddy the waters. You can't demand that he provides you with emotional reciprocity. You can't demand that he loves you. Why not? Because demanding is a very unloving thing, and you can't expect loving things in return when you're doing unloving things. You can't insist on empathy when you're being insensitive to his traits. You can't insist on him being a mature adult when you're being parental. It simply doesn't work like that. So, long story short, you will have to exhibit the behavior that you want to see. I'm sorry. I know the NTs are thinking, oh, so the ball's back in my court again, huh? I'm the one that has to do the work. Yeah. You will only get what you want when you offer the words that you want to hear, the behavior that you want to see. That's the way the universe works. I'm not saying it's good, bad, right, or wrong, fair, unfair. At some level, it does seem unfortunate that it works like that, but that's the way it is.
But if you take him to a neurotypical therapist, I can promise you, I will even take bets that he's going to get neurotypical advice that will not take into account mind blindness, emotions blindness, executive function deficits, anxiety, sensory sensitivity, and about 5 or 6 other important. Love languages. Oh, I wish you could just speak to love. Those 5 love languages, that's not even one of those is his love language. Not one. His love language is just stop pointing out what I'm doing wrong and leave me alone more. That's his love. You want to speak his love language? Give him more space without complaining about it. without interrupting his private time and stop pointing out everything that he's doing wrong. I'm not being funny. If you wanted to speak his love language, that was it right there. I'm not saying you should. You do what you want with that. But by God, that is his love language. You say what I say to him verbatim and see what he says. Well, Mark said your love language would be these three things. Me letting you have decompression time without interrupting you or complaining about it, and to stop pointing out everything you're doing wrong. Is that really would be your love language? I'd be really interested in seeing what he says. You think his love language is, oh, I want you to buy me, if you buy me more gifts, I'd do better. Or if you just provide me some quality time, we would really be getting along a lot better. No.
Would you like to schedule a paid private coaching session? This will be in the form of a face-to-face Zoom call. Underneath any of my videos, you'll see this Calendly link. If you click on that link, it'll open up my calendar. You can pick the available days and times that works for your schedule. You'll get a follow-up email immediately after purchasing a session that will have the Zoom link that coincides with the day and time that you picked. I will get an email too that you scheduled a session, and I will be available on that exact day and time, and we will talk. I look forward to working with you. Hey guys, this is Mark. Click on the join button underneath any of my videos, then click on members only videos, and then click on join. And for $9.99 a month, you'll have access to members only videos, which are excerpts from previous workshops I've conducted for NT partners, ASD partners, and the neurodiverse couple. New videos will be uploaded weekly.